So you've probably seen photos of me around dressed as Cinderella with a glass arm, and you may have heard part of the story, but I wanted to take you guys behind the scenes today and give you a glimpse into how that special photo shoot really came about. So hang on, because it is a bit of a wild ride. So the whole idea of Cinderella with the glass arm really came about a year ago when my daughter was studying Cinderella stories at school. And we're reading all these really cool adaptations from around the world. I loved how every single culture kind of made this fairy tale their own. But I realized there were still no princesses who looked like me, who had some kind of a physical difference. Actually I take that back. There was one story that we read where the main character had a serious facial deformity. But the way that story ended was that the gods took pity on her and made her face beautiful again, and then the king wanted to marry her. And that just wasn't really the message that I wanted to get across to little girls. I wanted a character that would encourage kids that they should also be confident in themselves and who they already are, and to teach them that they are 100% worthy of love. And so I kind of came up with this idea to trade out Cinderella's glass slippers for a glass arm. And the more I thought about it, the more I just really wanted to make this happen. So I am a seamstress, so I figured I could handle creating Cinderella's ball gown, even though this was by far the biggest project I have ever tried to undertake. But the glass arm was going to be a bit more of a problem because I had no idea how to do that. So I started to bounce this idea off of some friends, and my friend Doug from church said, "Hey, I've got a friend, he's an artist out in Arizona, maybe he would be interested in working with you." So I looked up his friend, whose name is Gilbert Lozano, and yeah, Gilbert was amazing. He has had work at theme parks and zoos and studios, all kinds of places. So of course my first thought was, I will never be able to afford this man. But I thought, well, Doug's introduced us, let's chat about it and see what happens. So, this was absolutely an incident of God just putting the right people in my life at the right time, 100%. So it turns out that Gilbert is also a Christian, and seeing different types of people represented is also an issue really close to his heart. And so he amazed me that he just jumped on this project with so much passion, and he didn't even charge me a dime. Like, seriously, this arm is worth thousands of dollars, and he donated that out of the goodness of his heart. He is just an amazing person. So funny side story. So our original idea was that we could just get an already manufactured plastic mannequin arm and, whip up some kind of socket to make it into a prosthetic. And, that would work just fine. That would give the idea of glass with that clear plastic. So we started to go online, and literally, I am not exaggerating when I say that the entire world was out of stock of clear plastic mannequin arms. Seriously, we scoured the entire internet, even like resale sites like eBay. We found one site that said they had them in stock. We ordered them, and they came back and with an email and said, we're gonna have to give you a refund because we can't actually find those things, and I don't think we can get more. So it was just bizarre. Like, how does the whole world run out of anything? So we went to plan B, which was creating this arm that was specially molded to me, which was a lot more work, but I think it came out so beautifully that this is really the piece that brought the whole fairy tale to life. This is what was meant to be all along. And so I finished Cinderella's ball gown, got started on Prince Charming. Gilbert sent me this amazing arm, and I think that's when I really started to realize this is something special. Like, I really want this to get out there for other people to see. I want other kids with limb differences to see themselves represented in a story in a really positive way. And so, in my mind, I'm like, what's the best way to get a costume scene? enter the biggest costume contest in the world. And so I signed up for the San Diego Comic-Con Masquerade Costume Contest, which is a huge event put on every year. And, you know, we got accepted. I made 3 more costumes to finish out the set, and everyone was really excited. So we get to Comic-Con. We are literally backstage, dressed, ready to go. We had a whole performance rehearsed and ready for stage, and I started to not feel very good. So I have a chronic illness. I have gastroparesis, which is caused by mitochondrial disease, and basically sometimes my stomach just stops working. And so that had been going on a few days before Comic-Con. I just hadn't really been processing food or water much. And you know, a little bit of advice, if you feel like you're really dehydrated, you probably shouldn't put on a wig and a corset and 4 skirts and sit in a really hot room for hours. So we were about 45 minutes before it was our turn to go on stage for the contest, and I passed out and ended up having to go to the hospital instead of going on stage. And you know, I was absolutely devastated by that turn of events. All of my plans, all of my dreams were crushed in a single moment. And you know, I thought, God, what's going on? Like, I thought you were part of this. What happened? And you know, it was really upsetting. But a couple days later, I came and I got up and I was like, you know, I gotta get out of this funk. I may never know why that went so terribly, but I'm gonna trust that God knows better than I do. Maybe he'll tell me one day. And so I was still really discouraged though, and I just didn't really share the pictures that I had taken. So fast forward to a couple months, and a friend messages me and she says, hey, I know this little girl. She's 5, she's on my daughter's soccer team, and she was also born without a hand. And my friend asked if I had any pictures of Cinderella that I could show her, because she just thought it would be really meaningful for this little girl to have a hero like that she could look up to. And so I thought, you know, I'm not doing anything with these pictures. I might as well use them to bring joy to this one person, because you know, that was exactly the person that I wanted to show these to anyway, was other little girls with limb differences to see themselves represented. So I just put them online really for this one little girl, and it was just the perfect example of God's plans being infinitely bigger than anything I could ever dream up. So I posted them, and I get up the next morning and there's 20,000 shares, and there's news organizations asking if they can use it online and on TV, news organizations from around the world. It was so unexpected, but I was also surprised at how positive people were being. I mean, you just don't see that on the internet very much, and so I was so honored to be a part of that. And you know, I hope the thing that people really take away from this is just to learn to embrace yourself. You are beautifully created, and you can do amazing things. I really believe that when we can love ourselves, and then we can extend that love and acceptance to other people, that's just a super small thing we can do that will make this world a better place. So I hope you all go out and just bring a little joy into the world this week. Until next time.